Greetings and thank you for joining us for the 39th episode of DC Animation with Spencer and Friends. This is an LMG Podcast Production. Today, I'm joined by a dear friend.
Hello, I am the dear friend.
Yes. And who are you, dear friend?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis is here with us today, and you have heard Alexis's voice before if you have been keeping up with DC Animation with Spencer and Friends. Alexis was on an earlier episode, and so this is your second appearance.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun time.
I'm happy to have you. Real quick, just can you give the people a reminder about your DC consumption? Comic books, shows, movies, video games. What DC do you take in?
Um, to be totally honest, not a lot. Definitely have watched like the live action movies that have came out because they're fun and I like superhero movies. I mainly live in the Marvel realm of things. But yeah, I'm not super into DC animation unless Spencer calls me up and then I'm like, cool, let me watch a show. But yeah, like the main characters that I kind of pay attention to is like Wonder Woman because I think she's really cool. I like the Green Lantern, which is why that last one we did was a Green Lantern. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with things. Like I like superheroes. I like DC. I think it's cool. I just don't really consume it a whole ton.
And that's okay. That's why we're here. Um, to call attention to it. But I appreciate you for joining us on this journey through DC animation. Today's film is Wonder Woman Bloodlines, released October 5th, 2019, and the comic book on which it was based is Wonder Woman Down to Earth. So, I will read a synopsis in my own words, and then we're just going to talk about it. And so, we open 5 years ago. Steve Trevor is attacked by parademons and accidentally ends up in Themyscira. He wants to leave so that he can warn everyone about the parademons, but he is jailed. Wonder Woman breaks him out, and Hippolyta tries to stop her, but ends up letting her go. Diana is taken to Julia Capitellis's house, where she meets her daughter Vanessa. Diana is getting all of the attention, which causes Vanessa to get jealous. Diana debuts to everyone her costume and her code name, Wonder Woman. In Today Time, Wonder Woman is visited by Julia, who asks her to help with Vanessa. Vanessa has stolen an artifact from Veronica Cale and plans to sell it for profit, which, would put her in prison. And so Vanessa meets with Dr. Poison to make the trade, but Wonder Woman, Steve, and Julia show up to interrupt the transaction. Dr. Poison gets the artifact, and Giganta gets the paws put on her by Wonder Woman. Julia gets shot, and Vanessa blames Wonder Woman. Furious, Vanessa agrees to work with Doctors Poison and Cyber and undergo a transformation. They are able to locate Vanessa and they take the invisible jet to Karak. While Dr. Poison escapes, Silver Swan stays back to fight off Wonder Woman and Steve. She is defeated and taken to Veronica Cale, who explains that this transformation is a techno-organic virus that is taking over her body. Wonder Woman believes that the purple healing ray can help Vanessa, but she doesn't know where Themyscira is. They go through Julia's data and find that they need to go to the Temple of Pasiphae. Upon arrival, they are met by Cheetah, and she and Wonder Woman immediately start throwing hands. Wonder Woman wins round one, but then Cheetah takes some PEDs for round two. Over in the maze, Steve and Etta are met by a Minotaur. After a quick stage transition, Wonder Woman is able to defeat Cheetah. Meanwhile, Steve and Etta are able to use the Minotaur to shortcut the maze. Wonder Woman drinks from the fountain and sees a lot of stuff, but still isn't quite sure what the Themyscira is. Wonder Woman then destroys the fountain, which frees the Minotaur from his curse to defend it. The squad returns to Kale Pharmaceuticals, and Veronica is pissed because she sees that Dr. Poison is using her product. Veronica is able to find Themyscira using Wonder Woman's visions, but Dr. Cyber has been listening in the whole time. And so she too knows the location of Themyscira. Dr. Cyber plans to steal Themyscira's resources for money, and so she then wakes up Silver Swan, and she and Wonder Woman start throwing hands once again. Wonder Woman leaves the fight to save everyone from the building that's about to explode, and Silver Swan escapes. The squad suits up and heads to Themyscira. Upon arrival, they are attacked by Silver Swan, and Doctors Cyber and Poison drop Medusa into Themyscira. Doctors Cyber and Poison learn the hard way that Medusa is not to be controlled, and Medusa kills them both. Dr. Poison did offer some PEDs, and so Medusa goes ahead and takes that and moves to destroy the Amazons. Wonder Woman begins fighting Medusa, and it's not going great. Medusa is a problem. Steve tries to help, but ends up getting turned to stone. And Medusa then targets Vanessa and tries to make her and Wonder Woman look at her. Wonder Woman uses Medusa's venom to blind herself, allowing her to fight Medusa without having to think about getting stoned. But just as Wonder Woman is about to be killed, Silver Swan chooses to stand with Wonder Woman. Together, they are able to decapitate Medusa, and everyone is turned back from stone. They are able to use the purple healing ray, and also Diana is able to heal her relationship with Vanessa and Hippolyta. After some credits, Wonder Woman kicks down Veronica's door because she figured out that she was behind it all along. She's the one who killed Julia. She's the one bankrolling the whole villain operation, and she fully intends to visit the Mascaras for some pillaging. And so Wonder Woman leaves her with a sword and tells her, "Okay, bitch, bring it." And that's the movie. So, of course, I was paraphrasing at the end there, but Alexis, what'd you think of the movie?
I actually really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun because it brought in a lot of like Greek mythology type things, which I thought was interesting. And like obviously like Diane is an Amazon, so they bring in a lot of the mythology stuff when it comes to like a lot of her things. But yeah, I thought it was really fun. I thought it was cool. Um, I immediately was like, yeah, this doctor's a bad guy. Like I was like blonde with a bob in her little power suit.
That blonde Bob, yeah, I was like, nope, I, she's, nope, I don't like it. I did the same thing. I just knew in my heart, I was like, she's not a good person.
Well, because I was like, okay, they're just showing us Dr. Poison and them like super quick. And I'm like, these aren't going to be like the big bads of this thing. And then they were like, ah, there she is. And then at the end, I was like, because she just King Arthur'd that freaking sword into the desk.
Yeah, yeah, she did. And I no, we're gonna hold on. We're gonna get deeper into it before I say that. Before we start talking about the movie, what did you think of the art style here?
I thought it was fine because there was some parts of it though where like I felt like her face and stuff got warped weird. And then I felt like the syncing was off a little bit with like their talking, but I don't watch DC a ton, so I don't know if that's like normal. But yeah, I just felt like sometimes she would move and she would look like a different face.
So that's interesting. So what's funny about that? This movie exists in the DC animated movie universe. So it is the continued universe of a lot of the movies that have happened so far. And this is one of the later movies that have happened. So Justice League War is the movie that started this universe, and there are a bunch of movies that have happened in the in between. So this art style is supposed to follow that same art style, but I feel like maybe the budget was lower or something because it didn't feel as clean as some of the previous movies in this same universe to me.
Yeah, I was like, this is not crisp. It didn't
Yeah,
feel like that to me.
but it exists in that same universe. So I don't know why that was the case. Like
Mhm.
it's like this movie didn't get as much budget or something.
Yeah, and it's a newer movie too. So like the some of it I was like, this feels like it should be older with how some of
Yeah,
this was
like
animated.
but yeah, like with this especially and specifically with this existing in the world that it was in, it should have been more crisp. It
Mhm.
wasn't bad, but it wasn't as crisp as some of the other movies in this same universe, I think. What do you think of the voice cast?
I was like, okay, this voice sounds so familiar when it was Diana. And then I was like, oh my God, it's Rosario Dawson. So I was like, Ahsoka Tano, it's you. But yeah, I got really excited when heard her voice because I was like, I know this. And then I immediately went to Google and I saw it was Rosario. And I was like, this is pretty cool. This is a cool time.
Yeah. I and it's so funny because of course I already knew it was Rosario because I've been in this universe. Whenever I heard the dude from Burn Notice, I was like, "Oh, okay, Burn Notice."
Yeah,
Like
I was like, so who's Steve then? And then I was like, oh, okay. I was like, because that's like the big show I feel like he's known from, but
that's what I
and
call him. Like that's his name. His name is Burn Notice. I
he's
don't
Burn Notice
know.
guy.
He's in other stuff. Like I think he's in like Law and Order or something. But
Mhm.
his name is Burn Notice. I don't know his real name.
I don't know it either. I would have to
But
Google it
yeah,
again.
but burn. I was like, yeah, it's burn notice, and I think I went and checked, and like I just saw the little picture, and I was like, yep, it's burn notice,
Yeah, he's got one of
and
those faces.
yeah, and then I recognized Etta because she was in Orange is the New Black.
Okay.
Um, but I don't. Oh, also super random. The Minotaur. Whenever he was talking, I was like, I know who this is. And then I think it was whenever they were in the kitchen and he was like, so you're not staying for dinner. I was like, that's I Am Weasel. And it took me a while to get there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was I Am Weasel.
Nice.
I don't know. You may be too young for I Am Weasel.
I think I might be too young for that one. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Do you remember Cow and Chicken?
Yes.
I Am Weasel was a spinoff from Cow and Chicken.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know Cow and Chicken. I don't think I know the other one. But
Yeah.
he's the voice actor from that.
He is I Am Weasel. Yeah.
That's
Uh
hilarious.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I
that
think during Cow and Chicken there'd be I Am Weasel, I Are Baboon, um, like little shorts, and then they ended up getting a show that didn't last very long. But yeah, I yeah. Other than that, I don't
yeah.
think that I mean, of course, Cree Summers was Hippolyta, and Cree Summers is in everything. Like you can always identify Cree Summers. I was like, I love that since Rosario Dawson was Wonder Woman, I'm glad that they've made her mom a black voice also,
Hmm.
because it would have been real easy to not do that.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, no, they're gonna be black. They're gonna be black. There were a lot of black people in this movie. But okay. So let's kind of talk through the movie a little bit. So in the opening, it's 5 years ago, and we see that Steve Trevor's being attacked by parademons. You're probably not familiar with parademons. Or you might be. I don't know. But parademons are creatures from Dark Side. Are you familiar with Dark Side? Dark Side is how a lot of people would look at Dark Side is he's the Thanos of DC. Like he's the big bad that requires everybody to team up against him because he is that much of a problem. Like
Okay.
Dark Side is an issue. He's my favorite DC villain. Um, and yeah, he's the one. Yeah, we're gonna need a team to deal with. Like can't nobody individually deal with him.
You mean like a league?
Perhaps. And so yeah, like he's the in this universe, he's the one who came and kind of forced people to be like, oh, we need a unit. we need some kind of group, a league perhaps to handle this threat because he's too much. And so the parademons are his minions.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you remember in the Avengers movie when the Chitauri were just random alien creatures coming down and causing issues and similar. That's
Yeah.
that's that's kind of how you can look at the parademons. The main difference is that parademons are basically organically repurposed organisms. So like he will kidnap somebody and then turn them into a parademon.
Oh, that's no fun for them.
Yeah. For them, yes. And so Darkseid does a lot of organic repurposing. But yeah. Anyway, so some parademons show up, and it's an issue. So Steve Trevor accidentally finds his way to Themyscira. Now we have seen a few situations where Steve Trevor ends up in Themyscira. In the earlier episode, where I talked with Cassidy about Wonder Woman, we see Steve Trevor end up in Themyscira in that movie as well. So this movie kind of acts as a Wonder Woman origin a little bit. Like they just kind of glaze over how she gets out of Themyscira and becomes Wonder Woman and, enters man's world. And it is through Steve Trevor. Now, in the previous Wonder Woman movie, they spent a lot more time on it because that movie is pretty specifically like it is an origin story for Wonder Woman. This is less an origin story for Wonder Woman, but they do cover it. And so in that movie, yeah, there's a lot more time on Steve, being there and, being clearly a womanizer and all of that. In this, he's kind of like more a man of duty and is like, hey, this is great, but I got shit to do, so I need to leave. And Hippolyta's like, hell no, you ain't leaving. Men are not allowed here. And so you're going to jail, sir. And Wonder Woman is like, but why would we? I don't think that's the move. No, that's what we're doing. That's what the Queen said. So he's going to jail. And of course, that's not great. So Wonder Woman is like, yeah, we're gonna have to leave. There's a prophecy that I know of, and I have to help you with this. So let's go get it done. So Wonder Woman, walks in there, apologizes to the guard, knocks her out, breaks down the wall, and then is like, all right, let's go. And then Hippolyta herself, the queen herself, says, uh, you need to return him to his cell and we'll deal with you on this. And she's like, no, I'm gonna have to leave. And Hippolyta's like, well, you are stealing from Themyscira. And I don't take too kindly to thieves. So if you plan on stealing from my kingdom, you will have to go through me. And so they got to fight. That's how it's got to be. Um, how'd you feel in these moments? What were you thinking when you were like, oh shit, Wonder Woman's got to fight Hippolyta, and that, oh no,
I was like, oh no, she gotta fight her mom. Because I was like, Steve always coming in here, causing some kind of problem.
some kind
And
of
so
ruckus.
I feel like in the ones that I've seen, she's always like, I gotta defend this man because it's not right or whatever. I also thought it was funny how they literally healed him with like the purple healing ray. And then he was like, but what's it called? And she was like, the purple healing ray. And then they were like, throw him in jail.
Yeah, I also thought that was great. It was like, yeah, the purple healing ray. Yeah, but what do you call it? The purple healing ray. Like what? What do you mean? That was great. But I
But
mean,
yeah,
the name is appropriate.
it is purple, it heals, and it's a ray.
Yep. Now, this is the first time I recall seeing the purple healing ray. I don't think I've seen that specifically in anything else. At least I don't think I have, but I'm sure that it's all over the comic books. I will say this is not a comic book the comic book that this is based on is not a comic book that I've read. So I will not be able to point to any references or comparisons in the comic book that happens for this movie. Usually, like there was a point when I was um very intentional about a DC animated movie coming out, and so I would read the comic book for it. I was not able to do that for this one, but it's gonna have to be okay. So, um, Diana and Hippolyta draw swords and they have to fight. And I will say, Diana was very clear about how disappointed in her mother was and all of that. And I guess I didn't get that vibe as clearly as it like happened because Diana was very hurt and very much like she's ashamed of me. I did all of this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but I didn't really feel that from Hippolyta. Did you feel that from Hippolyta?
No, I feel like she was just like, "Oh, you're stealing. Draw my sword." And then like later you can tell that Diana's having like some sort of issue with it because like when they're on the jet coming back, she's like, "They'll never make me queen. I'm a traitor." And then her mom's like, "Yeah, Diana's fighting back into the fold." So like at the begin initially, I don't know, it just felt like her mom was like, "Oh, you're trying to like take the lasso of truth. You're not allowed to take that.
Yeah,
So
like
now I'm gonna defend it."
Hippolyta seemed unbothered to me.
Mhm.
And Wonder Woman was a lot more bothered than Hippolyta was. But the attention that Wonder Woman gave to it led me to believe that Hippolyta should have been more bothered.
Yeah, she was very like
She was kind
I
of just
feel
like,
like
eh,
yeah, she was like very chill and just kind of dismissive about it. Like she was just like, "Okay, we're fighting now." And Wonder Woman's like freaking out 'cause she has to fight her mom, but her mom's just like, "Okay."
eh, eh. And so I don't know if that was on purpose or if we were supposed to feel more from Hippolyta's um because she didn't have a very visceral reaction.
Sh-
Again,
sh-
she just
sh-
kind of she was pretty chill about it.
Yeah, she was just kind of stern-ish, like giving like the queen air, but she wasn't like, "How dare you?" Like you would
Yeah.
think she would be a little more irate,
And
but she
not even
wasn't.
just that, but I mean even more visibly disappointed in Diana.
Yeah, she
Like
kind of was just there.
yeah, like I didn't feel like she was actually disappointed in Diana. Like I just feel like she was I mean, of course she was a little disappointed, but it was just kind of like, oh, like it didn't feel like what she was doing was that egregious when in Diana's mind it absolutely was. So, I don't know. It just I guess I felt it a lot more from Diana than Hippolyta because I feel like I didn't feel it from Hippolyta at all.
Yeah, because like I also feel like we were seeing it more from Diana's perspective,
Of course.
if that makes sense, because like I feel like we were seeing her emotions more. So that could be a part of it too, is because like maybe we weren't supposed to see it from that angle or however am interpreting it.
Maybe. But um Wonder Woman and Steve, yes, Diana and Steve, they make it over to Julia's house, and Julia, she's cleaning profusely. And she's like, "There's a princess coming here. So get your shit right. No slouching, no eating with your mouth open." Like she was like, "You will keep it tight while the princess is here."
Hmm.
And it was so funny because whenever Wonder Woman arrived and Vanessa opened the door, she was like, "Oh, we're cleaning? All right, let's get to cleaning." And I love that Wonder Woman was just as nervous about it as um Julia was because she wanted to make a good impression. She was like, "I these are strangers. I don't know what's happening." Like Diana was very human in this situation because we often see that because she's Wonder Woman, she's oblivious sometimes, but she's very powerful and she is just on top of everything. And in this situation, we see her be very human and nervous, but also like trying to be helpful. Like oh, we're cleaning. All right, let's get this house clean. Like you shouldn't be doing that. Let me worry about that. Like that was there was character there, and I loved it.
Yeah,
And
I learned
so
that. Potpourri has an expiration date apparently. She was like, I forgot to check the expiration date on the potpourri, and that's why Vanessa opens the door.
Yeah, and I think it's just the effectiveness of it. Like
Hmm.
eventually it'll just not work
Smell.
as well. But she lets her in and Diana's, trying to just be nice and wonderful and really trying to make friends with Vanessa and trying to be like, I understand, these high expectations with a strong and powerful mother and, just trying to be the best you can and trying not to disappoint her and all like I get it. If anybody gets it, it's me, trust me.
Hmm.
Because Diana can see that Vanessa is like visibly a little bothered by the fact that her mom is, making her do all this stuff. And so, they have a little talk. And I will say, um, I think one of my biggest pet peeves existing as a human is shoes on the bed.
Oh my God, I yelled out loud. I was like, why the hell are they putting their shoes on the damn bed?
I was, I, I was, I hate it. I could be at someone else's house and they could be on their own bed. And I'm like, I really just need you to take your shoes off.
Because, like, that is where you sleep. That is where you slumber. You don't want to put the outside because the ground is
Yes.
literally the dirtiest of places.
You are defiling your bed by having your shoes on it. I hate shoes on the bed. Like
Yeah, I'm
it
like, shoes on bed, shoes on the couch. Absolutely not.
absolutely not. If there's any furniture that shoes can be on, it's maybe an ottoman, and that's gonna
Mhm.
depend. But yeah, shoes on the bed, I can't. And so I had to rewind that whole conversation because I was mad about the shoes on the bed.
Yeah.
And so whenever the mother mentioned it, I was like, Julia's my new favorite.
I was so excited when she said something because I was like, same, Julia. 'Cause she's like, since when did I allow shoes on the bed in this house? And
Yeah,
I was
like
like, exactly, you
exactly.
nasties.
What are you doing? Both of you. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Take them off.
I was like, when are you an adult?
Yeah, take them off. Because she was like, I understand that you're a princess and all that nervousness, and no, get them off. And so, yeah, I'm glad that was addressed because if it hadn't been addressed, I would have had an issue.
Same, because I'm like, the mom's already, you can tell the mom is already, like, Julia's already a clean freak because she was freaking out, making sure the house was clean and all of that jazz. Like, just trying to make sure that things are ready and in order when Diana gets there. And then, like, see, because at first I thought Vanessa had socks on, and then I realized that they were actual, like, shoes. And I was like, no. So you just sat crisscross on your bed with your shoes on.
What are you doing? It's unacceptable. And so, yeah, I'm glad that Julia was like, yeah, no, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And they both responded immediately. Good. So, um, we can see that Diana, Julia's, increasingly giving more time to Diana, and it is, taking away from Vanessa. Like Julia's not even paying attention to Vanessa at all. Vanessa brings home some straight A's, ignored. Like it is an issue. And then you see they like give you the visual cues that she's headed down a dark path with the asymmetrical haircut. And DC loves an asymmetrical haircut. Like in animation, that is their like rebellious, like letting you know that this girl is going down the wrong path. That is how they do it. They use the asymmetrical haircut and like dark makeup and dark clothing, like a real goth vibe. Like in DC's mind, that is how you know that this young woman is headed in a dark direction.
Yeah, I was like, okay, DC,
Maybe
just make her look punk rock.
yeah, maybe a nose piercing or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, like they this is not the first time we've seen it, but yeah, like that is their answer for that. It's a trope almost. Like how we've talked about the current black dude haircut.
The
You get
Killmonger.
yeah, the Killmonger shaved sides and then asymmetrical locks, or shaved sides and just an unruly up top. Uh, so yeah, this is yeah, like DC uses this for yeah, young woman who's not playing by the rules, young woman who is rebellious and against the establishment. Um, it's gonna be shaved on one side, leaning to the other side, dark makeup, maybe a couple piercings, and a jacket. She's usually wearing a jacket. That's just what they do. If you watch other DC properties, you'll be like, oh, there it is. So yeah, it's one of the tropes that they've put in. But yeah, like we see her. That's again, that's them giving us the visual cue that she's headed down a dark path due to what could be called neglect, but more like just, her responding to the fact that Diana is getting all of the attention that she wants because she's looking at it as, oh, Diana is this perfect being, and I can't even get my mom's attention for anything. But also, my mom is, not like nothing I ever do is good enough. And yeah, it's a combination of all of these things.
Yeah, I did feel really bad for her though, because she was like Diana's this golden child in her eyes now. And then it's like you just want your mom to pay attention, and she's just so enamored with this literal princess that now lives in your house.
Yeah. And there's no, you can't compete with that. It's Wonder Woman.
Hmm.
And so Wonder Woman, comes downstairs and is like, I got the costume and I got the code name. I'm saving the day, meeting with the president, doing all these things. And Vanessa's like, this is stupid.
I thought that was funny. She was like, "You look dumb."
Yeah. Everybody's like, hey, you shut your mouth. She looks great.
Yeah, Steve was like, "She's amazing. What do you mean?"
What do you mean? How dare you, child? And so,
You know nothing with your asymmetrical haircut.
exactly. You know nothing of fashion. You know nothing of style. You know nothing of heroism. But, again, she's just acting out and all of that. And so now we're in the today time. And Wonder Woman is visited by Julia because Julia's like, hey, Vanessa is she's really going down a dark path now. Like she's actually like doing stuff. And if she does this, it is going to end her in prison, and I can't have that. So she works for this lady, Veronica Cale, and she's stolen some stuff that she's going to try to sell to some people. And like, that's not good. I don't even know who she is anymore. And a part of me was like, yeah, you should have paid attention to her.
It's kind of your fault a little bit, Julia.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
you should have seen the changes because they were pretty apparent to us.
there was signs that should not have been missed, to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah, there were some signs, but whatever. Things happen. And so, Vanessa meets with Dr. Poison. Now, you watched the live action Wonder Woman movie, right?
Yes,
So you remember Dr. Poison?
I believe so. It's been a minute.
Yeah, Dr. Poison was, the German doctor that,
Yes.
yeah, and she was, yeah, she was a problem. She was the one who was making the stuff.
Yeah.
Making the chemicals. And we see that Dr. Cyber is also involved. And so whenever Dr. Cyber was like, I don't like to show my face, or whenever Dr. Poison was like, Dr. Cyber doesn't like to show her face, I was like, let's see who is Dr. Cyber. And
Yep.
so, um, we'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, Dr. Poison is like, yeah, go ahead and give me that. She was like, where's the money? And she was like, no, where's the stuff? Where's the artifact that I asked for? Need to make sure that that's here before we start doing any transactions. And so Wonder Woman, Steve, and Julia are able to find them, and Dr. Poison is like, kill them. Like they don't need to be here. So kill everybody. All of them. Because of course they assume that Vanessa is working with the authorities or whatever. And yeah, Dr. Poison's like, nah, kill all of them. We don't need them. But don't damage the artifact, but kill everybody else. And so Dr. Poison is able to escape, and then Giganta is there. And I I thought it was Giganta, but she wasn't big, and so I didn't think it was Giganta because normally Giganta is just huge. And
Mhm.
so Giganta, takes the first set of PEDs and gets real big, and then that's when Wonder Woman is like, oh, Giganta. And I did the same thing. Once she grew, I was like, oh, Giganta.
There she is.
Yeah. And this is a Wonder Woman villain that we've seen in other things. And so, um, yeah, when she got giant, I was like, okay, let's go. And uh whenever she was fighting, Wonder Woman was like, you're better than last time. Oh, okay. Not mad about it. But Wonder Woman puts them paws on her.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't go well for Giganta. And, I knew that's how that was gonna go. I was like, it's way too early for Wonder Woman to like have any issues. So cool, Giganta's gonna get dealt with relatively easily. And unfortunately, Julia finds a bullet. Or rather, a bullet finds Julia.
Because
And
dead parent trope.
because, yeah, there's got to be a dead parent. Otherwise, yeah, there has to be a dead parent. And we have to see the parent die. Like, we have to know what happened. Like, it's got to be a Bambi situation. And so, um,
Not Bambi.
mom gets shot. And, you know, Vanessa is like, this is your fault. You did this. And when she said, I was like, you fucking dumb. What do you mean? But of course, we know all of the things. Like we're seeing it from the high view. And so we know that Wonder Woman is not to blame. But also, Vanessa, you were you were doing some illegal shit. And so no, no, it's not. It's actually not Wonder Woman's fault at all. Um,
Yeah, if it's
you,
anyone's fault, it's
it's your
Vanessa's
fault.
fault.
Vanessa, it's your fault for doing these illegal activities.
If you weren't
You are
there,
the
your mom wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, your mom was trying to save you. And so for you to blame and of course Wonder Woman is too nice of a person to be like, actually, it's not my fault. It's actually your fault because you shouldn't have been who shouldn't have been here was you. Because yeah, like that's the whole reason we showed up is because you didn't need to be here. And so, of course, again, Vanessa's gonna blame Wonder Woman because she's is mad at her for like she's got salt from way back in the day. Like this has been developing for years. And so she blames Wonder Woman. And, Wonder Woman takes that because Wonder Woman is like, it was my fault. And Steve is like, no one, I went over this a dozen times. There were no ricochets. There were no stray bullets. There's absolutely no, because even if this was a situation where you deflected a bullet that happened, that's not even what, like, so this is literally
Mhm.
not your fault.
I will say though, at the whenever Julia was dying, like her daughter's like, "Mom, I'm here," and she just goes, "Diana," and I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, that didn't help. But, that's what happens. And so that is probably the nail in the coffin for Vanessa. The fact that Vanessa was like, your daughter, I'm here for you. And she was like, Diana is who I'm like, that's the last words. And so, yeah, I know that hurt Vanessa. And so at the funeral, Vanessa does not show up. And Wonder Woman was like, I was really hoping that she would be here so that I could apologize, even though I did nothing wrong. But whatever, that's fine. Wonder Woman is a good person, and again, she takes that. And Vanessa's like, all right, I'm in with whatever y'all are doing. Like, let's do it. Cause yeah. And so she gets in the tank and, they inject her with some shit, which we find out is a techno-organic virus. But yeah, they basically give her the whole Archangel treatment. Archangel from X-Men. I don't know if you're familiar. But yeah, they inject her with that. Steve basically is like, yeah, no, it wasn't. I've looked at it. There's no way. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So And of course, I'm sure that whenever you heard that, you were like, you took a note. You were like, oh, something's off there then.
Hmm.
Hmm, wonder who did that.
Yeah, I said they Wolverined her.
That's yeah, another good reference. So yeah, okay. And so they see that Vanessa is in Karak, and we see that Vanessa's, doing stuff, making deals, being the muscle. Um, and so yeah, the dudes are like, "Hey, who are you? Oh, you're not important." And she's like, "Oh, I'm exactly who you need to be talking to right now." And so she basically demonstrates that she's too much, and he does the who are you? And so yeah, a
Slice,
problem is who I
slice.
am. Yeah, that's all you need to know, buddy. And so then they take the invisible jet, and that's another thing. How the invisible jet happens changes throughout all of these. And so in this, it just happens to be like just a military stealth plane.
I thought it was funny because Steve was like, "How did you manage to get an invisible jet from the military?" And you just hear, "Steve, invisible jets don't exist," or
Yes,
something like that.
there are no invisible jets, Steve. Silly
I was like,
Steve.
they're literally in one.
Yeah. And what's funny is, I guess because Steve is a pilot, like Wonder Woman never flies it. Because historically the invisible jet belongs to Wonder Woman, which I
Mhm.
always was thought was stupid because I was like, Wonder Woman can fly. Why does she need a jet? And she's always
Right.
the only person in it. And they're like, what are we doing? That's
Maybe she can't fly long distance.
yes, she can. Wonder Woman's too much.
Yeah, she's the
But
passenger princess in this movie
yeah,
because she's got her pilot bro to drive her.
yes, and that's the thing. Him and Etta needing the invisible jet makes sense.
Mhm.
But yeah, and again, Wonder Woman, there are a lot of questions I have about Wonder Woman's past and how like absurd it is. But we're in better times now, luckily.
Yeah.
So, um, they show up in Karak, and Dr. Poison is escaping, and Silver Swan is like, I will stay back and deal with Wonder Woman while you get what you need and leave. And so, they have oh my God, Vanessa, what happened to you? Vanessa's dead. I'm Silver Swan now. And, they start fighting, and Wonder Woman is still too much, taking it easy on her. It's like, I feel bad for you, but you can't hang with me. And so she gets knocked out, which needs to happen. And they take her to Veronica Cale. And Veronica Cale, because whenever they said, oh, we need to take her somewhere, like, who can handle this situation? I assumed they were going to take her to Silas Stone, Cyborg's father, because Cyborg, like, he would know how to handle this.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, he's literally the father of Cyborg.
Yeah. And so whenever they were like, we need to take this to some professionals, I thought it was going to be people that we had already seen because we have already seen Silas Stone and we've already seen Steel, John Henry Irons, and they are both experts in this type of shit. So I thought we were going to see them or maybe Lex, but they were like, no, we're going to take this to a different um, you know, CEO that's got super intelligence and a giant company and yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. So they go to Veronica Cale, and whenever they said that they were going to her, I was like, oh, she's gonna be pissed because this is the employee she had that tried to steal from her. And then whenever I saw Veronica, like when I laid eyes on Veronica Cale, I was like, oh, she's Dr. Cyber. Like they're the same. I know that. Like that's I just I don't know. Again, maybe it was the bob, maybe it was the power suit. I don't know what it was, but when I saw her, I was like, oh, she's Dr. Cyber. That's easy.
Well, and then also, why would you help the person who literally like stole from you unless you had something vested in it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. They did trick me because whenever Dr. Cyber later like took over, and whenever that happened, I was like, oh, I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like when I first saw her, I was like, oh yeah, that's Dr. Cyber. Because the fact that we never saw Dr. Cyber and Dr. Cyber was just kind of like a shell that we never actually see who that. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, that's easy. I can't believe that they just have that in our faces like that. And then when it wasn't, I was like, oh, all right, my bad, Veronica Cale. I just really thought it was you. So they did like again, they showed her. I immediately knew she was a villain, and then they like rerouted me successfully. And then when we came back, I was like, see, I knew it, but they got me, and that's okay. So she explained, she's like, no, this is a techno-organic virus. This isn't something we can just, it's only going to get worse. This isn't something I can just heal her from. Like it's gonna be an issue. We're gonna have to uh I don't think there's anything I can do. And Wonder Woman is like, oh, the purple healing ray. That can heal her because that's magic. And I don't remember where Themyscira is because the whole thing with Themyscira is whenever you leave, you forget its location because, magic and gods and whatnot. And so I have no idea how to get there. I do not remember where it is. Because my thought is like, y'all were just there. What do you mean? But the magic.
Yeah, they go through the like shield that's around it and then it just wipes it all away.
Exactly. And so they are, looking through all of Julia's files. Julia's got a room full of stuff, and there's a little montage of them going through things. And then Etta, I think, is the one who's like, if she's been doing this for a while, her data's not going to be on the top, it's going to be on the bottom. And so they're able to find what they need. And that's when we step into some Greek mythology, of course, because there are some stories, like usually Wonder Woman's father is Zeus,
Mhm.
usually. Sometimes Hippolyta just kind of sculpted Wonder Woman out of sand or clay, and then Zeus like struck lightning into her, and then bam, life. Um, Sometimes it's a Greek myth, and Zeus came down as like a fucking goose or something, and started um being free on the women, and that you
Yeah.
know sometimes Ares is involved. Yeah, like there's a lot of possibilities, but Greek mythology is usually involved in
Mhm.
like that's where Wonder Woman's origins are usually um involved is with Greek mythology. And so they have to go to the Temple of Pasiphae, which ends up being a maze. When they get there, they see Cheetah. Now, Cheetah is probably like I would say that Cheetah's like the arch nemesis of Wonder Woman, like the
Mhm.
the main one. And you saw that those two locked eyes, and it was on sight.
Yeah.
Like, because Giganta, it wasn't quite on sight. Of course, they did fight, but like with Cheetah, nah, we're throwing hands immediately.
Yeah, I was like Thundercat, bro, about to get her ass beat.
Yeah. And so let's talk about their fight first, because again, they see each other, they start throwing hands. And it's not going well for Cheetah
Mm-mm.
because it never does. And so Wonder Woman beats her ass in round one because Wonder Woman is too much. And then Cheetah's like, oh, I got something for you. And so she takes her PEDs.
She stabs herself in the neck with it.
Dr. Poison, yeah, like Dr. Poison is providing some Bane style PEDs. Are you familiar with Bane?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
the Batman
Batman
villain?
like guy
Yes.
that wears the mask.
But you and me adopted the back.
Yeah, Tom
I was
Hardy's him
born in
in
it. Yeah, that
Dark
Bane.
Knight Rises. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that Bane voice. Uh it's it's so funny to me, but also I love it.
I like
But
how
yeah,
both of us are like, yeah, Bane, and put our hands over our
because that's
mouths.
how you have to do it.
That's
You can't
how you
just
have to.
yeah, like and that's how Bane talks.
He's muffled.
But yes. And so, um, Bane, if you saw The Dark Knight Rises, then you don't know about the venom that Bane uses. But Bane has a substance called venom, which is basically a steroid that makes him huge. And if you see Bane in any other situation, you'll see that he's on the venom. But
Yeah.
that's basically what this, because venom is bright green and it makes you a lot stronger and like it makes you like a problem. And ironically, in one of the earlier movies, we do see that Bane gets a version of Venom that makes him a lot stronger, and it makes him dumber, but he's stronger.
Hmm.
And so now that I'm thinking, it is just now occurring to me that she might be the one behind the Bane Venom that we see in the earlier movie Hush. Wow. I love it when it all comes together. And so, she takes some PEDs and she gets, you know, big and swole and is a lot faster.
She's more like a cheetah at that point.
Yeah, like she is like Wonder Woman can't keep up with her. And so Wonder Woman is like, I have an idea. And so Wonder Woman tightens the battlefield. And that stage transition, that again, Wonder Woman's too much. Wonder Woman's like, yeah, you got too much space right now. So come on up here where I can get close to you, where I can put my hands on you. Because Cheetah was very clearly a striker. Wonder Woman's a grappler. So yeah, Wonder Woman like if I get you in tight quarters, oh, it's not gonna be good for you. And so that's exactly what happens. Wonder Woman does a quick stage transition, and then Wonder Woman has no issues handling Cheetah.
Yeah, like I don't understand how that jet wasn't absolutely destroyed.
Good question.
Because it's
I don't
that's the
know.
comics, baby.
Yeah, like because the movie needed to happen. That's how. Like
Plot.
how else were they gonna get out of there? Etta and Steve can't fly. They need the jet. So yeah. So over in the maze, we see that Steve and Etta are, just moving through it. And then they're like, oh shit, that's a Minotaur.
Etta being like, what does this remind me of? Like for the first few minutes they're in the maze, and then it's like,
And she's
must
like,
protect.
yeah, she was like, there's something about this that I should be, yeah, must protect. I was like, oh, that's what it is. And they were like, oh, that's a Minotaur. We should probably like move because he's big and he's going to be a
Yeah.
problem. And then they realized, like, oh, he can get us there a lot faster. So they use him to, basically break through the wall. They cheat code their way through the maze because they can see where the finish line is because it's, giving a sky beam. And so they're like, oh, that's where we need to go. So yeah, we can just have him break these walls down and we can get there easy. It's not gonna be a problem at all. And so they get there. Wonder Woman drinks from the fountain. She sees a bunch of shit and she's not able to piece it together. She's like, well, god damn it. I still don't know where Themyscira is. But I saw a bunch of stuff. So yeah. And then as the Minotaur is, starting to get back up, Wonder Woman is like, oh, he's got to defend this thing. So I'll just destroy it so that there's nothing left for him to defend so that he can be free.
She just destroys this like historical artifact.
Yeah, this magical fountain. He's like, yeah, I will know these holy waters.
Yeah.
And then yeah, she destroys it, which does free the Minotaur, which is great. And the Minotaur is like, thank you so much. My life belongs to you now. And Steve just decides, you look like a Ferdinand.
I was like, oh my God. And he was like, Ferdinand, a strong name.
It's like, okay.
It's like,
That's
buddy, he was making fun of you, but okay.
there was no way to know that. But whatever. He he was like, good. I like it. I shall hence now and forever be born known as Ferdinand. But they return to Veronica, and Veronica is looking into things, and she's like, "What the fuck is my name doing on this?" And that should have been the thing where I was like, "Oh, see, you think you're slick." But of course, she was trying to get away from it, so she was like, "Oh no, they stole from me," and Wonder Woman was like, "So I guess you're a lot more compromised than you thought you were." And Veronica's like, you got me fucked up. She's the only that bitch in there is the only one who has ever stolen anything from me. So I don't know what you I keep things tight around here. Like I keep my house safe. So how dare you accuse me of having, you know, other people with my things. And again, at this point, I'm like, it's because you're Dr. Cyber. Obviously. Like that's you're Dr. Cyber. That's why. That's why your name is on all the stuff because you're Dr. Cyber. And then whenever they were able to, use Diana's visions to pinpoint Themyscira, and then Dr. Cyber came up on the TV and was like, "Thank you so much for showing me where Themyscira is." I
A
was like,
diversion.
I was like, "Oh no, you're not Dr. Cyber. Oh no. I'm Veronica. My bad.
Sorry, girl.
I'm so sorry. Ooh. Mmm.
Yeah, see,
Whoopsie.
yeah, that threw me too because I was like, she's the bad guy, but these other bad guys are also popping up. So what is happening?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Whenever, she was on the computer doing stuff, I was like, yeah, you're Dr. Cyber because she can do all this shit. So yeah, you're Dr. Cyber. You run a pharmaceutical company and you're doing a bunch of computer pinpointing and yeah, you're Dr. Cyber.
Like, yeah, they have your drugs. That's what's wrong with the girl.
Yeah. But then again, when Dr. Cyber was like, and I have the plans too. And she was like, how did you get past the fucking firewalls? And I was like, oh, Veronica, I owe you an apology. That was my bad. So they did successfully like reroute me. And so Dr. Cyber is like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Themyscira and I'm going to pillage because they have all kinds of technologies and resources that I can use for money. And so that's where I'm gonna be. I don't know about y'all, but that's where I'm going. So thank you for letting me know where it is. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and bid y'all adieu because I got stuff to do now. And so she wakes up Silver Swan and she puts the floor into lockdown and is like, Veronica's like, yeah, we it's going to eradicate this whole floor. Like it thinks that something got out, and so it's going to do a purge of this floor. That's not good. And so, of course, Wonder Woman and Silver Swan, they go outside. They start fighting a little bit. It's not really going well for Wonder Woman, but that's okay. Wonder Woman sees like, oh shit, that floor is about to explode. I should get my people out. And so she goes to handle that. And uh Dr. Cyber's like, hey, Silver Swan, while she's distracted, you should leave because you can't hang with Wonder Woman. I know you're mad. I know you think, no, leave right now. Retreat. It's time to go. And so she does. Wonder Woman is able to save everyone, which was real risky because Veronica could have died. And this was probably Veronica's plan.
Yeah, she was like, this is how I don't be suspicious, put
Yeah.
myself in danger.
Yeah. Don't be suspicious. Don't
Don't
be
be
suspicious.
suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Yeah. Uh, Thank you for that. Um, so they Wonder Woman is able to save everyone, of course. And so they're like, all right, we're going to Themyscira. Let's do this. And so they all suit up. Wonder Woman goes back to the classic look because her Justice League fit is a little different than the classic Wonder Woman
Mhm.
fit. Um, and so she gets her classic stuff back on because she's like, I'm going back home.
Hmm.
So I got to go back to the OG. And they, get to Themyscira. And of course, before they get there, while they're on the plane, Wonder Woman and Steve have, a little moment.
Yeah, I was like, not Steve rizzing her, like putting on the Riz as he's
Now,
going into battle.
and one of the things that is mentioned, so did you notice that Wonder Woman or that Steve was like, yeah, you were fucking around with Superman.
Oh my
And
God. And she goes, I'm not with Superman now.
I
I
say
was
I'm not
like,
with
oh.
Superman today. So in the earlier movies, um, Wonder Woman and Superman see each other for the first time, and they're both like, "Oh, hmm." So they notice each other, and they date. And then of course, eventually they break up. We don't see them break up on screen, but we see them reference it.
Mhm.
So, whenever Superman starts talking to Lois, is when Wonder Woman is like, we had a thing and it didn't work out, but that's okay. And so that's why that reference is made because in this universe they absolutely did date.
Because I feel like that's like a kind of a thing across like their story arc and a lot of things is there's always like an alluding to them having something going on. So
Yeah, sometimes it's Wonder Woman and Batman, sometimes it's Wonder Woman and Superman. It just
yeah.
depends.
Yeah, which Batman got referenced in this movie too
Yes,
earlier because Julia was like, you trying to be like that guy in Gotham?
yes, that did happen. And so, yeah. So, um they have their moment and they basically, decide like we should be together. Like that's when Wonder Woman and Steve figure like, oh yeah, this thing is gonna work
Yeah.
because Superman's not in the picture anymore
Yeah,
because you
Etta
can't
was
really compete with Superman.
yeah, Etta was hilarious because she was like, hope we find some Amazons who like them thick.
That was the best line in the movie.
I was like, girl, she knows what she wants.
Oh, it's the best line in the movie. I'm so glad that they put that in there.
I had to rewind it because I was like, did she just say what I thought? And then I said, oh my God, she did.
She did. I'm so glad that she said that. Oh, so great. Because because I knew who Etta was, and whenever Steve was like, "Oh, I have a friend named Etta who would love it here," I was like, I feel like we're gonna see that happen.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it here in a minute.
Yeah, and yeah, when Etta was like, "Yeah, we're going to an island full of female warriors," I'm gonna need them to like them thick.
She said, sign me up.
Yeah, and I was like, "You better get you some Etta," and she does, which we see later. But they arrive and Silver Swan, obviously attacks them. And Doctors Cyber and Poison are like, all right, it is time to drop the prototype. And so uh it they drop a thing, a sarcophagus looking thing, or just a box. And whenever people started getting stoned and we see some snake hair, it's like, oh shit, it's Medusa.
Yeah, and I feel like we should have caught on that it was going to be Medusa earlier because they made a whole like thing about Perseus, because because Steve can't say Perseus correctly. And so
Yep.
yeah, they were like Perseus is who killed Medusa, like Diana goes all into it. And
Yeah,
then I
and that's the
was
thing. We could assume that that's where they were going, but also because he killed Medusa,
mhm,
I figured they were. I didn't think it was going to be actually Medusa herself. I thought it was going to
yeah.
be a Gorgon of some kind, or maybe some kind of like organic replication of. I didn't think it was going to be her.
Well, wasn't she probably like a clone of Medusa
I mean, technically,
though?
probably
I think that's probably what she was. But yeah, no, she was
she was
Medusa.
Medusa. And especially because they were, Dr. Poison was like, I will make an army of you. And I was like, okay, so it's not actually Medusa, it's just a Gorgon. But
But Medusa was like, shut the hell up. Fuck
Medusa
around and
said,
find out.
yeah, I'm the HBIC. And so there will be no controlling me. And she kills them both.
Yeah, like, cause she like punched, and see, that's a thing back how we were talking about like She can't be Dr. Cyber because Dr. Cyber gets chest punched,
Yep.
goes down. Dr. Poison turns to stone, breaks all
Yep.
over the place.
Yep. And so and I thought about that because whenever when later when Medusa dies and everybody unstones,
Hmm.
I hope Dr. Cyber didn't.
Yeah, I mean, she's in pieces.
Exactly.
So,
I hope
yeah.
she didn't turn back to flesh.
Ew, yeah, she'd be like obliterated.
Yeah. She'd be a puddle. But anyway, Medusa kills them both. And again, when that happened, I'm like, okay, wait. I'm a little confused because I did hear Dr. Cyber say this is why I don't like being in the field. However, when she killed Dr. Cyber, it felt like Dr. Cyber was not organic at all. Dr. Cyber
Yeah.
was 100% machine.
Yeah, that was a robot.
And so I'm like, so maybe Veronica is Dr. Cyber.
Yeah, she's like somewhere remote, just controlling.
Because if but again, Dr. Cyber saying I don't like being out in the field led me to believe that that was actually Dr. Cyber.
Hmm.
But then when the robot body, was killed, I was like, was it though? But the fact that we never hear from Dr. Cyber again, it's looking like it was.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's a situation similar to Cyborg, where Cyborg is he's got just a splash of organic material, but like if you stab him, it's gonna be real mechanical.
Yeah.
So I don't know on that. But before Dr. Poison dies, Dr. Poison is like, here, I have PEDs. You'll be stronger than ever. And Medusa's like, I don't need your bullshit steroids. And then once Dr. Poison is killed, Medusa's like, you know what? See what happens.
Yeah, let me just try this out.
You know, we're in a new era, and there have been improvements. So let me just try it, see what happens. And she's giant now.
I was like, oh hell. I was like, small Medusa was a problem because those Amazons went down so quick. And then now I'm like, now she's big.
And that's the thing. Whenever I didn't think she was just gonna grow, I thought it was gonna be more like cheetahs. So I assumed that she would be bigger, but she would have like a snake tail
Hmm.
and that she'd be like just slithering.
Yeah, you thought she'd turn more into a snake because Cheetah turned more into a cheetah.
Yeah, but no, she just grew. So it was just the same shit the Giganta got. Um, because she already had the like mind control, like the Jedi mind
Hmm.
trick. She already had that because she used it on Dr. Poison.
Hmm.
It was like, look at me. And so, yeah. So, she takes the steroids and gets giant and and she says, like, no, I'm here to destroy I don't want to take from the Amazons. I want to destroy them. I want to wipe them off of the planet because they are against me and I'm not about that. They probably worship Athena, and I have a very personal vendetta against Athena.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does. Because yeah, for anybody who's not familiar with Greek mythology, Medusa was one of Athena's, I guess servants. We'll call her a servant. I'm sure
Hmm.
there was a more proper term for what she was, but she was, worshiping Athena in the temple, and
He's like,
Poseidon comes in there and rapes Medusa, and Athena says to Medusa, "You defiled my temple, and so you are now going to be cursed." Medusa was one of the most beautiful women that the land had ever seen. And Athena said, you defiled my temple, and so you will be punished. And so no one will ever be able to look upon you again. And that is how Medusa happened. That is her story. Very tragic, very Greek.
yeah.
And So again, if I'm Medusa, I don't know if I hate anyone more than I hate Athena. Like it, ooh, that's real personal. And so I don't know if that's why Medusa has decided, because it could be just because they are warriors that, she's disliked for a long time, whatever. But my immediate thought was, oh, it's because they quote unquote belong to Athena,
Hmm.
and she has a very personal vendetta against Athena.
Yeah, she's like, Athena did me wrong, so now I'm about to wreck these people.
Real wrong. And so yeah. Also, I hate Poseidon. We're gonna come for him too. But
Yeah.
like Athena was supposed to defend me, Athena was supposed to protect, and Athena blamed me? Okay. So because it's DC, I don't even know if that's what happened here.
Hmm.
Because, everybody changes shit up. And Greek mythology is public domain. They can do whatever they want, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know if that's why Medusa has an issue with the Amazons. I just know that in Greek myth, Medusa needs to have a problem with Athena.
Hmm.
And so, of course, they begin fighting. And Medusa's a problem. It's not going great for Wonder Woman. And so Steve is like, oh, let me help. And Wonder Woman is like, no, 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 don't look. And Steve gets stoned.
I also love how Steve's like, I'm a human and a man. I got this. Turns
I
to
mean,
stone.
he really thought he was helping. He didn't get it. Like
Yeah.
he's a normal human man. There's magic shit happening.
Hmm.
And so yeah, he gets stoned. And then Medusa was like, oh, you like this one? Let me keep that in mind.
Yeah, she was like, I'll remember that. And I was like, this bitch.
I was like, oh, yeah, that's a vendetta. And while this is happening, of course, Hippolyta is trying to, escape. And the Amazons are like, I don't know if Wonder Woman can, like, Wonder Woman, she might die out there. And Hippolyta is like, you're right. She might not make it out. And I was like, God, oh, it's rough. But I mean, Hippolyta is thinking big picture, like, I can't go out there. And Wonder Woman is one of our best and brightest. So if she can't handle it, if she and the entire squad of archers that I have can't do this, then we might fall today. But I gotta be in here. Because we if we do make it through this, or if she does break through, then this is how it's gotta be. I don't want it, I don't like it. But yeah, Diana may not be enough to handle this. And there's not much that I can do in that regard. But we have to get into this inner wall. So, um, Medusa's like, oh, Vanessa, let me talk to you for a minute. So she starts targeting Vanessa, and Wonder Woman goes over there to try to protect her, and she does the whole, look at me thing. And I was at first thinking, like, Medusa, why are you just now doing that? Whenever, if Wonder Woman was giving me any kind of challenge, I would have immediately been like, oh no, look at me. Come on. Because they were having discussions and like they were talking,
Hmm.
and so, yeah, like they're Medusa, yeah, should have pretty immediately been like, no, look at me.
Medusa wanted to put on a show.
She did. She wanted to prove that she was the HBIC,
Hmm.
and so, um, she says, Vanessa, look at me, and Wonder Woman is like, no, don't do it, no, please, no, and then Medusa's like, all right, you look at me then, and Wonder Woman has definitely got some willpower because Wonder Woman was kind of just like, I will not look at you. I will resist for as long as I can. And then Wonder Woman picks up one of the hair snakes. And Medusa's like, you dummy. My venom doesn't work on me. And Wonder Woman's like, that wasn't my plan. And she blinds herself with the venom. And I guess you have to actually see Medusa in order to be stoned, because my thought is even if you're blind, you're still looking at her. But I guess the curse is that no one will lay eyes on her.
Yeah, so
And
like they have to physically see her.
yeah. And so Wonder Woman blinds herself, and Medusa's like, oh. And then blind, Wonder Woman starts going to work a little bit
Yeah, I was like, not her fighting better when she can't see.
because she doesn't have to worry about not
Yeah.
looking at her. Because whenever you're fighting somebody, you're going to look at their face in most cases.
Hmm.
And so now Wonder Woman can fight a lot more freely because she doesn't have to worry about accidentally looking at her.
Oh yeah, so she
And so
started throwing hands.
she started going. And I was like, good. Because, yeah, it's real easy to be like, how is she better now that she's blind? And it's because she's not limited in what she can do.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, she can just, again, she can just go. But, you know, Wonder Woman is, she's still not enough in this case. And so Medusa gets her and she's about to finish her. And Vanessa finally realizes, like, oh my God, she sacrificed herself for me. Like she was willing. This is above and beyond. She blinded herself to protect me. And I know that she, gave me the whole resist, you can do it, you're strong, all that. But yeah, no. I have to stand with her because she showed me that she's about it.
Yeah, I was like, through the power of love and friendship.
The power of friendship. The power of friendship literally healed uh or not healed, but like got Vanessa to the point where she was like, all right, let's do this.
Yep.
And she was like, I will get you to her. And so Medusa, at the end of the day, she gets defeated by the power of friendship because that is the strength that Wonder Woman needs to decapitate her. And so she decapitates her, and then Medusa's body turns to stone. Because I was like, what are they going to do with this giant Medusa head?
Right?
But because normally, um, in the myth, the head is cut off and then the head can still be used.
Yeah, people use it as a weapon.
Exactly. And so whenever it turned to stone, I was like, oh, okay, that's the answer. I was like, are they just gonna put it in the archive? Like, what do you do with a giant Medusa head? You use it on Darkseid. That's what you do. But okay. And so, um, they are able to do that, and then they use the purple healing ray, which convenient that heals absolutely everything. That's wonderful and great. But glad it did because I'm wondering if Diana knew that going in, or if she was just prepared to be blind.
I think she was just prepared to be blind because she was like, I gotta save people. I'm Wonder Woman. And then Purple Healing Ray, she's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman can't be blind, so cinema.
Yeah, you know. And she may have known about the purple, like she may have known that that wouldn't be an issue because if she thought that the purple healing ray could cure the techno-organic virus that was, taking over Vanessa's body, then
Mhm.
yeah, it can probably give me my sight back because this is an injury and
Yeah.
it's a healing ray. So, you know, I planned to live and I planned to be able to see at the end of this. And so not only does she heal her body, but she also heals her relationships.
Hmm.
She heals her relationship with her mother. Um, because Hippolyta is like, yeah, that whole you not being allowed and you take it all. I forgive you for taking the things because you literally saved Themyscira. we would have died if not for you today. So, um, yeah, our relationship healed. Don't even worry about it. And you did it for the right reason. You chose to help people. You chose to be a champion. You chose to be better. And so, yeah, no. Yeah, I forgive you. No, we're good. If you want to be queen, that's fine. We can probably make that happen. But, you know, and then Vanessa, of course, realizes like, oh, this was a true friend. And she finally finds it in her heart to forgive Wonder Woman, which was more for her than for Wonder Woman, honestly. Because
Yeah, because Diana never had any ill will towards her. It was all one-sided on Vanessa's side.
yeah, and that's the thing. Harboring hate and ill will, especially undeserved, is just more detrimental to you than to the other person. And Vanessa eventually gets there. She just needs some time, and she has to go through some shit, but she gets there. And then, Vanessa, I guess, just assimilates into the whole Amazon culture, and so does Etta. Yeah, Etta, right at home.
Etta got her not just one,
Etta got two of
but
them.
two
Yeah.
Amazons.
And yeah, I'm sure that Etta is just having a good old time. And good for her. I'm sure that Etta's like, no, I'm gonna stay here. I'll stay here.
Yeah,
I think
she's like,
I think I'm good. So, um, and then in the we see, a couple credits, and then mid credit, Veronica's door gets kicked down. And Wonder Woman is like, no, I figured you out. It took me a minute. It took me being blind to see your treachery. And Veronica was like, yeah, yeah, I'm a businesswoman. And Amazon's got some business that I need. So, yes, it was I who killed Julia because I needed her gone. It was me funding the whole villain operation. And I need you to understand that now that I know where Themyscira is, I will be paying a visit. And I will be taking what I want. I was like, just like white people.
I
But
was
whatever.
like, ma'am, no.
And Wonder Woman was like, I dare you. I double dog dare you. Matter of fact, here's a weapon. You can keep that. You're going to need it. Because if you are coming for my Themyscira, you are going to have to go through me. And you're going to need all the help you can get. So here's a weapon. Because that's what you're going to need. And it felt very um like I guess it felt Superman Lex just because Lex is, a genius who owns a company who um is very selfish and uh is just a regular human who thinks that he can hang with this person. But the relationship is very, very different because Lex's whole philosophy is I don't like the fact that this godly individual is here and could literally lay waste to the earth at any moment if he wanted to. And so we need to have an answer for that. But also, he's incredibly capitalist and obsessive and yada yada. She's more like, no, you being an Amazon and none of that matters. Like, I'm here for the money.
Mhm.
And Wonder Woman was like, okay, well, let me know when you ready, because I stay ready.
And then Homegirl can't even get the freaking sword out of the desk.
Because yeah, that's not what she's here. No, she's not the muscle. That's why she hired muscle.
Right.
But yeah, she put a whole, syndicate together.
Mhm.
because that's what you got to do. Like I'm gonna need some help, and so I'm gonna collect all of these powerful female villains to, take care of this. And so, um, Alexa, scale of 1 to 10, what are you thinking on this?
I liked the story of it. I thought it was a good time. The animation kind of took me out of it a little bit. Um, but I liked the story kind of as a whole. So I think I'll give it like a 7, maybe.
7 is exactly where I was as well.
Okay, cool.
Um, Not because of the animation. I was able to get past that. I
Mhm.
mean, this movie was pretty good, but we've seen some better ones in this whole journey and in this specific universe. So yeah, I think 7 is pretty fair, pretty reasonable. That makes sense. And that's where I would put it as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, anything else on the movie?
I like that it did have a lot of the female villains and stuff in it because I feel like you don't see them a lot, like animated or live actiony, but like it's Wonder Woman, I feel like you kind of have to give it for the ladies.
Yeah.
So,
I think Steve and the Minotaur were like the only men in this movie,
yeah,
and
I think
that's
so.
fine. That is not a problem. Like I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So, okay. Excellent. In the next episode, we will be discussing Superman Red Sun. So until then, salutations.